The second of the Ten Commandments prohibits making statues, representations of anything that is on the heavens or on the earth in order to adore them. Actually, it speaks against idolatry. That's basically it. And this is why many people think that Judaism has a negative attitude toward art. Art, which was fundamental for Greek culture, and we admire Greek culture so much until this very day. But maybe our relationship with art was a little bit different. We find in the Torah, there's a man by the name of Betzalel. Betzalel, actually his name means in the shadow of the Almighty. He was an artist who was charged with making all the different elements of the tabernacle that accompanied our ancestors in the desert and the forerunner of the Beit HaMikdash, of the temple in Jerusalem. The Torah says about Betzalel that he was filled with the spirit of the Creator, with an intelligent heart. Well, it seems that in biblical symbolism, the heart is the seat of the intelligence. Of course, we realize that an artist must have sensitivity, but he must also have intelligence. He needs talent, but he also needs work. You have to somehow translate from idea to an object, to the concrete. It's not easy, obviously. The Torah says that Betzalel received not only the Spirit of God, he also received three things: Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat. The initials of these three words form Chabad, which is the name of a certain group, a Hasidic group called Lubavitch. And you can find them in the streets of all the large cities, especially on Friday afternoons where they try to do acts of helping other people. They'll ask you, did you pray this morning or not? They'll help you pray and so on. Well, our great commentator, Rashi, says the following. What does Chokhmah mean? He says, Chokhmah is what you learn from teachers, from readings, maybe from life itself. What is Binah? Binah is the result of this reading, how you interiorize it, how that changes you, how you understand really what your teacher is telling you. And what is that? That, Rashi says, is divine inspiration. Suddenly, you're working on something and suddenly you obtain a different kind of explanation, a different kind of understanding of something. There is a saying in the Jewish tradition that says the following: Yagata umatzata. If you make the effort, you're going to find. So I remember my teacher, Rabbi Soloveitchik, once said, the word wasn't chosen right. It should say, Yagata, you made the effort. Yatzata, you will obtain whatever you're looking for. What does it say? You will find. Find seems to be like you're walking in the street, suddenly you find a coin. It's happening, that happens suddenly, for no reason at all, suddenly. So he says, many a time you delve on a problem day in and day out for days. Suddenly, there's a ray of understanding. Suddenly you see the light. You understand it from a different point of view. So he says that is the inspiration, the divine inspiration. Because many a time we do a lot of work, but we don't receive really the results of our work. But in any event, Judaism has a certain outlook for art in general. I remember when I was in high school in Lima, Peru, I had a geography teacher. His name was Chirinos. I remember his name today. He was a very voluminous individual. I don't remember any of the geography he taught us, but he used to have talks with us from time to time about the problems of puberty, because we were all at that age, 13, 14 years, and so on. He would speak about hygiene, about certain things. And at one time he told us the following. Michelangelo, the great artist that sculpted an enormous Moses, beautiful, imposing. After he finished his work, he took a few steps back, looked at the sculpture he finished, and he exclaimed, "Why don't you speak?" He was so enamored, so identified with what he had produced. He felt there should be life in that. Well, we're on the borderline. What Judaism does not want is to make out of art a god, an end by itself. But Judaism isn't absent, isn't a stranger to art and to beauty. As a matter of fact, the great priest, the Kohen Gadol, had to have different vestments that he had to put on, different elements he had on his face, on his shoulders, and so on. And as a matter of fact, if he officiated without the proper garment, then the officiating wasn't valid. We are aware of that. But on the other hand, we never made an end of that by itself. What is important is the effect that art has on the sensibility of the human being, but never confuse an idol with God. Never make that an end by itself of your life. Well, this is maybe obvious to some, to others not. Some people idolize money. Some people idolize power. Some people idolize music. Some people idolize art in general. Anything can become an idol. That is the most important thing in your life. These should be added features to your life, important elements, but that should not be the center of your life. The center of your life should be God, the relationship of God with man, and how you can make this world a better place to live in.